It was a chilly October evening as I set out to place my newly acquired trail camera deep within the forest. The sun had already dipped below the horizon and the fading light cast eerie shadows upon the trees. My excitement mounted with each step as I imagined the creatures I'd capture on camera in their natural habitat, undisturbed by human presence. I fastened the camera securely to a tree, ensuring it had a clear view of the path frequented by deer and other wildlife. With a satisfied nod, I started my trek back to my cabin, eager to review the footage the following morning. The next day, I woke up before dawn, unable to contain my anticipation. With a steaming mug of coffee in hand, I retrieved the camera and connected it to my laptop. As I scanned through the images, I marveled at the candid shots of deer, raccoons, and even a fox passing by the camera. But then I stumbled upon an image that sent a shiver down my spine. Caught in the middle of the night, a pale, ghostly figure appeared on the trail. Its gaunt features and sunken eyes seemed to stare right through me, as if it were aware of the camera's presence. The figure was barely visible, like a wisp of fog or a trick of the light, but there was no denying its human-like form. I quickly flipped through the following images, hoping for an explanation, but the apparition had vanished as suddenly as it appeared. My heart raced as I tried to rationalize what I had seen, but no logical explanation came to mind. A sense of dread crept over me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was no longer alone in the forest. As the days passed, I couldn't stop thinking about the pale apparition. I spent countless hours researching local legends and stories, trying to find any mention of a similar entity, but found nothing. Sleep eluded me, and the once familiar forest now seemed like a menacing labyrinth of darkness. Determined to uncover the truth, I set out to place multiple trail cameras throughout the woods, hoping to capture the figure once more. Each morning, I anxiously reviewed the footage, only to find the usual assortment of forest creatures. Then one night, as I lay in bed, unable to sleep, a sudden chill filled the room. I heard the faint sound of footsteps outside, growing closer and closer. Panic coursed through my veins, and I clenched my eyes shut, praying that whatever it was would pass me by. The next day, I reviewed the footage from the trail camera nearest my cabin. There it was, the same pale apparition, standing just outside my door, staring into the camera with its hollow eyes. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. It wasn't just some forest spirit or anomaly. It was aware of me, and it was getting closer. Now every night is a battle between fear and exhaustion, as I wonder if the pale apparition will appear again, or if it has already found its way inside. The once comforting embrace of the forest has turned into a haunting nightmare, and I can't escape the feeling that I'm being watched, hunted by the very thing I sought to uncover. In my travels through the vast wilderness, I found solace in a small, secluded cabin nestled deep within the woods. It was a refuge from the chaos and strife that plagued the world outside. The darkness of night, a canvas upon which the mysteries of the forest played out, held a particular fascination for me. Yet in my pursuit of understanding these enigmas, I would soon come to know a terror that would shake my very soul. As I sat by the fire one evening, contemplating the nature of the world, I heard a faint, unsettling sound echoing through the trees. It was unlike any sound I had encountered in the wild, a chilling mixture of man and beast, crying out in anguish and rage. I rose from my seat, listening intently, trying to discern the source of this disturbance. The following day, I ventured forth into the woods, determined to uncover the truth behind the unearthly cries that haunted my dreams. As I traversed the underbrush, I discovered a series of peculiar tracks and markings on the trees, the likes of which I had never before seen. As evening fell, I decided to set up a trail camera, hoping to capture the elusive creature responsible for these signs. The next morning, I retrieved the camera, my heart heavy with a mixture of anticipation and dread. As I reviewed the images, I found myself confronted with a sight that defied explanation. A twisted, grotesque figure that bore semblance to both man and beast. It appeared emaciated, its skin drawn taut over bones that seemed ready to break free from their fleshy prison. Its eyes, filled with malice, seemed to pierce my very soul. I could not help but recall the whispered tales of skinwalkers, shape-shifting beings capable of taking on the forms of animals or men. I had dismissed such stories as the product of fear and superstition, but now, faced with this horrifying image, I could no longer hold to my skepticism. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, The once comforting silence of the woods gave way to a growing sense of unease. The shadows lengthened, and the cries of the skinwalker echoed through the trees once more, seeming to close in on my small sanctuary. I could feel the darkness bearing down on me, suffocating in its embrace. Night after night, the malevolent presence drew nearer, its cries growing louder, more insistent. I knew it was only a matter of time before the creature would reveal itself, no longer content to remain hidden in the shadows. My once cherished cabin had become a prison, its walls offering no protection from the ancient evil that stalked me. As I recount this harrowing tale, I am forced to confront the terrible truth that my pursuit of knowledge has led me to awaken something that should have remained hidden. My efforts to understand the mysteries of the forest have brought me face to face with an ancient malevolent being, a being that now knows it has been seen and will surely stop at nothing to protect its secrets. It was the dead of winter when I decided to escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life, retreating to a secluded cabin nestled within a thickly wooded area. The landscape was breathtaking, with snow-laden branches and a quiet that was both soothing and eerie. I found solace in the isolation, feeling far removed from the chaos that plagued the world beyond these woods. One evening as I sat by the fire, its warm glow casting flickering shadows across the walls, I heard a strange, distant noise. It was a rhythmic chanting, an eerie harmony that seemed to emanate from deep within the forest. Curiosity piqued, I decided to investigate, cautiously stepping into the frigid night air. Wrapped in warm layers, I ventured into the dark woods, following the haunting sound that seemed to grow louder as I delved further into the snow-covered forest. The chilling wind bit at my face, but I pressed on, driven by an inexplicable need to discover the source of the mysterious chanting. Finally, I stumbled upon a clearing, where the full moon cast a cold glow upon a group of hooded figures standing in a circle. They were swaying in unison, their voices rising and falling with the eerie melody, and in the center of the circle stood a stone altar, upon which lay an object shrouded in cloth. I could feel the pulsing energy in the air, a sense of dread creeping into my core. As I crouched behind a nearby tree, I felt the icy fingers of fear grip my heart. I watched, unable to tear my eyes away from the scene, as one of the hooded figures stepped forward and slowly lifted the cloth, revealing a twisted, grotesque statue beneath. Its malevolent features seemed to come alive in the moonlight, and I felt an overwhelming sense of unease. The chanting intensified as the figure raised their arms in the air. Suddenly the wind picked up, and the snow began to swirl around the clearing as if responding to the dark energy emanating from the ritual. My instincts screamed at me to flee, to escape this nightmarish scene and never look back. I forced myself to turn and stumble away from the clearing, the eerie chanting echoing in my ears as I hurried back to the safety of the cabin. As I bolted the door behind me, the fear I felt in the presence of the mysterious cult still gripped my heart, suffocating me with its intensity. I realized that I had stumbled upon something that should have remained hidden, and now that I had witnessed their dark ritual, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was no longer safe in my once peaceful refuge. As I sat in the darkness of the cabin, I couldn't help but wonder what I had truly seen that night. What dark secrets lay hidden in the heart of the woods, and how would my life be forever changed by what I had discovered?